In life, there is always the age-old question, what if? Nowhere is that more prevalent than in the world of professional wrestling. And now, the what ifs arrive here. Wrestling Fortune 44 Incorporated presents the Fantasy Booking Series.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Booking Series episode 4. This is going to be the ECW brand rebooking from 2006, 2010, but we're only going up to 2008, but well, basically,
no, we're going up to only 2007. Part 3 is going to finish up the year with ECW One Night Stand 3. So yeah. That's going to be the deal with that. But yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm finally doing it. It's been 10 months since we did the first part of it. We're doing part 2.
And listen, life happens.
Yeah.
Get over it, people.
Yeah, I know.
And besides, it kind of gave us some time to do a bunch of projects, including getting this intro done and the actual logo itself as well. So it actually bought us some time, much needed time to improve the production on certain shows that didn't have the same production as Rundown, as the Rundown, Retro, and Indie Force. So there you go.
Yeah, whatever. Pretty much we're going to be doing the Fantasy Booking Series every week until I get fully caught up on professional wrestling currently, just so that way we could have some content on this channel, because it's been a ghost.
It's been too damn long. So
yeah.
This is our way around it. So there you go.
This channel pretty much turned into a ghost for 2 months, so it's not a ghost anymore. So.
Yes. So welcome. Obviously, when we get back into the swing of things, I think it's going to be an every month thing. That's when it'll turn into every month, so that way we're not exhausting ourselves creatively. But, this is us, Fantasy Booking Series. Now let's get on to the ECW one. You already saw the previously video on the last episode. It basically went over the people on the roster and whatnot. I'll send you the updated thing real quick, because I completely forgot to do that.
Yeah.
Not that you were gonna need it, because as you said, I'm probably gonna do most of the talking, but still.
James is doing most of the talking because he's the one that booked this and stuff like that. So
right.
Hopefully, too, you'll go into the playlist and have watched part 1 before you watch this video. And if you didn't do that,
because if you don't, you're gonna be super damn confused as to why Edge is the ECW champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because part 1 kind of explains everything on why I think he would be the perfect guy for ECW, because he'd be the perfect guy you would want to see get his ass kicked. Not to mention he can go in the ring. I mean, hell, if Van Dam could do it, I don't see why Edge couldn't do it. If Van Dam was trashing ECW in the original days, he would be Van Dam in this situation. You know what I mean? And you can even bring that up in the feud.
Especially, too, one thing, Edge was doing a lot of this is when he started his rated R superstar gimmick, so he would be the perfect fit for the ECW brand at this time.
100%. Absolutely. So, if you recall last time, the ECW World Champion was Van Dam, and there was no television champion or tag team champions yet, and Mick Foley was the Hardcore Champion, because that would have been made official. In that regard, we would have made that back as an official championship, because if you're going to have the hardcore belt and you're the co-hardcore champion, and you're not going to have that belt exist under that umbrella, I don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I genuinely don't know what the fuck you're doing. That makes no sense to me. So, since December to Dismember, which was booked way better the way I did it than the way WWE did it, as was unanimously decided by both Owen and when Mike was on here. ECW World Champion is Edge, as reasons explained in the previous video. The ECW Television Champion is Chris Benoit. The ECW Tag Team Champions are heel Crime Time, and God rest Shad Gaspar's soul. And the ECW Hardcore Champion would have been a new champion, with Sabu beating Mick Foley for the championship finally after holding it for months, officially and unofficially throughout that period of time. So,
what do you say too? What would the buy rate be? Because in real life, the buy rate and like the ticket sales and stuff, ECW December.
I think it still would have been low, but definitely not as low as they were. Yeah, because you got to remember, like, while that was the worst buy, like also got to remember, like, what was the buy rate again? Like 7,000 or whatever the fuck.
Let me look. Hold on.
Yeah, look that up.
Because because I think it's
look up like a typical WWE pay-per-view buy in the year of 2007 and compare it to the ECW December to Dismember buy. And then that could give me a good estimate on how much that I think this would have made financially for the company.
All right, so the buy rate was 90,000. I got 90,000 buys.
So it didn't even get under 1,000. So it didn't even get over 1,000 buys.
No, well, 90,000. I said 90,000. So it did get 90,000 higher than 1,000. It didn't even get like 100,000 buys.
Yeah, that's what I mean. 100,000. Yeah. So what about another pay-per-view? Like, let's say the one after that.
We'll do Armageddon since
yeah, it happened like right after that.
No, Armageddon. Oh, of course. Why don't we do the attendance records? Because it's not telling me the buy rates on Wikipedia, because Wikipedia sucks.
Well, I definitely know the show didn't sell out. There's no show sold out.
It was fourth. Well, also we didn't really. It also took place in Georgia, which is not an ECW town at all. I was like, so that's.
Yeah, I think. Well, what didn't I say? I changed the venue location of that.
Yeah. So
it wouldn't have been in Georgia.
Yeah.
Although I think I did say that even if it wasn't Georgia, if you build it up right, like people would have gone. That's the problem. They didn't build it right at all.
It just didn't. But I can't look up the buy rates for any other show. I think because it's not as well known. But we'll just say typically like, I don't know, we'll say 200,000 buys.
200,000 was like their best. So my estimate probably would have been 168,000 buys roughly. I think that's a reasonable number, because the way I build that pay-per-view, I think people would have paid more for it. But I also know they probably wouldn't have paid as much as they would for the other pay-per-views, because it's not Raw or SmackDown, and they haven't seen ECW in forever, so it's a whole new thing to them. So obviously that you got that working against you. Not to mention the fact that it was kind of on just basic cable. It wasn't on, Raw wasn't on like digital. Raw was on digital platforms, and SmackDown was on like a whole worldwide network on Friday nights. So it was like completely different rating systems back then as well, which I found out. So that worked against him as well. So I think 168 is probably the right number there.
At least it being realistic and not being like, over the top by saying, oh, with this book and it's going to be so much, but at least it being realistic about it. Like, No,
it's definitely not going to do so much better, but it's not going to do much better. It definitely still would have been third over everything else. It just wouldn't have bombed to the point where it couldn't even get 100,000 buys like this one fucking did, the way they did it. So, obviously, you want to do that correctly. Now, as I said, just to reiterate who the champions are now, it's World Champions Edge, Television Champions Benoit, Tag Team Champions are Crime Time, and Hardcore Champion is Sabu. So, we're going to go over the rest of how we did this. Edge then goes on to boast about how he has beaten RVD to win the ECW Championship. But RVD invokes his rematch clause at the Royal Rumble. In the meantime, Edge fights Kurt Angle and Tommy Dreamer in different title defenses in which he's successful in retaining. So, that's pretty cool. I think that would be the best way to kind of go about that. Start giving him some wins. You're definitely going to need him to get wins. Especially towards the Royal Rumble. I guarantee you it's probably going to be Dreamer first. And then it's probably going to be Kurt Angle, because Edge versus Kurt Angle for the ECW Championship would work this time in that setting. Because even though it's not two ECW originals, look, not everything has to be an ECW original thing. You can have the new breed of people. You can have former WWE stars that are already established names in this. But you have to do it, and you have to do it right. I think if you did it like this, you would have kept Kurt Angle at least to the end of his contract, because at least even though he's on the third brand, because I'm sure he still would have left anyway, he probably still would have been unhappy to the point of leaving to go to TNA. But if you build it up, and that's Kurt Angle's last match, like on pay-per-view anyway, and actually keep him happy at least for the time being until then you at least did what you could there. It's just like, it's almost like they dropped the ball, and whatnot. And I understand, he was addicted to painkillers and they wanted to let him go. But the other side of the coin of that is they didn't give him any time off.
Yep.
Like, they didn't willingly go and tell him, hey, take some time off, heal up. You can come back by December to December time, and then you'll have a championship at the Royal Rumble, which you won't win. And by that point, if you're still not happy with this whole ECW project, you may feel free to leave. And who knows if he were to stay with ECW or were to be with WWE. I think his contract expired. What was it? It would have been in mid-March anyway, right? Like right before WrestleMania. Yeah. I'm sure they would have kept. I'm sure they would have extended it at least till Mania time. But everything would have probably definitely shifted. But, who knows what would have happened. For all I know, Impact doesn't get Kurt Angle and they don't become a viable number 2. Although, if you looked at what happened 2 months after they got Angle and saw Vince Russo coming back, maybe that's not necessarily such a bad thing.
Yeah. I look at other, it makes sense because Tommy Dreamer would be so against Edge being the champion. He would want to get that title off of Edge. And Tommy Dreamer, who's like the heart and soul of ECW, you could do like an awesome extreme. And they obviously would have history too from that, tag team match they had when Edge teamed up with
Yeah, exactly, which is why you want to do that match as well. Yeah, 100%. And not to mention the fact that Foley would have turned babyface by this point anyway, kind of just ditching Edge and Lita, and then Lita and Edge both disrespect him. And then they get so mad up to that, it gets Dreamer so mad to that point where he comes out. You could even do a 6-man tag by that way, just to kind of build up the animosity towards the two. I could see, for example, say you could have Terry Funk, Tommy Dreamer, and Benoit come out. Or no, because Foley would still be active, right? So you could just have Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk come out to back up Mick Foley, and Edge, thinking he has no friends.
Well, wasn't
on the contrary, because this is now just on the fly booking. Let's take a look at the roster and see who can team up with Edge.
Well,
he could bring in.
Wasn't Terry Funk though unable to wrestle though after that one night stand match because of the bump that he took?
Yeah, but he was still considering it. I think. Obviously, don't have that spot, and just Foley needed to be more careful, obviously.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of hindsight. So, I don't know how you get around that, but we'll just convince him to, just stay. And hell, maybe that's his final match or something. I don't know. I'm hoping not, because I really want him to have that awesome match with Benoit, but still. But we'll get to that. You could even do a 6-man tag match, and then Edge has to pick 2 partners of his choosing, right? Yeah. And, Heyman being the babyface general manager. By the way, he does not go heel. Fuck that nonsense. I believe, who did I say? There was the commissioner was I know, it's just on-screen general manager. So
Yeah, you said
basically what can happen is, and this just occurred to me as well, right? So if I go back to the December booking for a little bit, you'll recall that Tommy Dreamer went one-on-one with Shane McMahon.
Yep.
So maybe instead of Terry, how about we do this instead? Him and Shane McMahon come out to defend Mick Foley because they have great history individually, right? So they come out to back him. And then Edge runs away. Lita runs away. Heyman, being the babyface, basically tells him, you got to find two partners of your choosing, right? These are the two partners you can pick out of that roster for that match in the main event. Let's say this is the couple of weeks after December to Dismember, right? Edge picks Elijah Burke and Marcus Corvon. This is the building block to the New Breed faction that I had in mind.
Yep.
This in mind. Then, throughout the match, as it goes on, we'll say, Shane McMahon, it looks like he's about to go for coast to coast, and, Edge is right here on this corner, pointing towards me, pointing towards the camera. That's the corner he's at, and Dreamer's on this corner. His partner that came out to help him. Instead of turning to Edge, he turns to Dreamer and hits coast to coast on Tommy Dreamer. Edge then waits for him to get up, hits the spear. Shane McMahon and the rest of the New Breed start beating up on, poor Mick Foley. 1, 2, 3. Edge pins Tommy Dreamer, and the New Breed is formed. So because Heyman and Dreamer get so pissed off at what the New Breed did, then the match is set up for a month down the line on TV where you have Edge fight Tommy Dreamer in a one-on-one championship match on Sci-Fi.
Well, I make it like an Extreme Rules match or like a hardcore match.
Yeah, 100%. Well, all ECW matches are going to be, especially title matches, are going to be no disqualification. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to use weapons. But in the main event, absolutely. In this case, it makes sense because it's a grudge feud. If you watch the original ECW, not everything was weapon-based all the time, even though there was no disqualification for any of their matches. A perfect example of this was the ECW television title series. Everyone loves the critically acclaimed matches with Van Dam and Jerry Lynn. Yeah. Everybody loved the three-way dance with Little Guido and Tajiri and Super Crazy. Those are world-renowned matches, right? So that's what they're also known for. So that's kind of what. So the ECW title is where you're going to really see the big weapon stuff. It's actually how we're kind of structuring our show, except not everything's no disqualification. In this case, it's just a world championship is no disqualification. And because in that regard, in ECW's mindset, no rules, no championship advantage. That's simple. He can't escape this fight. He's either got to go in there and he's got to fight his ass off, or, he's going to lose the title. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. So that's how that's going to work. So, I think it would really work out, too, because if you have the main event, be the six-man tag, it would be really, really good stuff, I think. It would be really good stuff. Especially considering the fact that maybe you don't need to have everything in ECW, no disqualification all the time. Everybody says, extreme means everything needs to be no DQ. Who the fuck said?
I know, yeah.
Who the fuck said? Just because it says extreme doesn't mean everything has to be no DQ. Especially on TV, because if you make everything no DQ by that point, you're just going to run through everything. So you're definitely going to want to keep the six-man matches and the other matches that aren't title matches, like no DQ. You know what I mean? And only on pay-per-view should be no disqualification, period. So
especially too, because then you're running into the risk of becoming like a CCW, which is like everybody.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, I also want to point out too that I probably did say initially in the first booking series, "Hey, it's no DQ every time." Well, I changed my mind on that now because I realize if you do that, that's just bad business, and you're running through every gimmick match at that point.
Yeah.
That does not mean people should be stupid like Sabu and, dive onto the fucking table on Just Incredible and get himself disqualified.
Yeah.
A fucking TV match that he probably needed in order to justify the reason he even got an ECW title match to begin with against the Big Show. But, fuck me, right? I guess I'm not smart. So... Anyway, that was spontaneity booking, so there's how you kind of build up Edge's title reign from there. So, six-man title match, create a new faction around him. Shane McMahon betrays Dreamer when no one expects it because they expected it to happen at December to Dismember. He betrays him on the week or 2 weeks after. Then, title match between him and Dreamer. Then Van Dam has the match with Kurt Angle because he got pissed off at what he did. Yeah. All that shit. Then that will build up to him trying to recruit CM Punk from the New Breed, like what happened in real life. But Punk's like, nah, dude. Nah. I refuse. I'm my own guy.
None of that shit where he actually joins the New Breed and it doesn't get over, so they have to...
Yeah, exactly. None of that Vince Russo swerve shit. You want to do it once, that's fine. You can do it with Shane McMahon, you can get away with that. You cannot get away with that with Punk. That made no sense. It just... People could see that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what you can do there. And then we'll go on to Benoit, who won the ECW television title by this point. He starts wrecking shop as champion, beating the likes of Stevie Richards, Just Incredible, CM Punk, Ken Shamrock, and Test. This leads to a one-on-one with ECW legend Terry Funk. So that would be the matchup at the Royal Rumble.
I actually think this match...
Because I don't think I actually build Royal Rumble. So now in my head, spontaneity booking. I'm building Royal Rumble now. So there you go.
Well, the beauty about this, too, is... Terry Funk, even if he takes that big spot, it's not like he has to do any big spot because it's just like a nice grapple and wrestling match.
Yeah, and that's something that everybody forgets that Terry Funk was one of the greatest on the mat. There's a reason he won the NWA title at one point. People forget that. So for him to go to that level with Benoit, I know he's old as hell, but Benoit can carry anybody to a great match back in his day, and having Funk in there would definitely give him a nice rub and that title some serious legitimacy coming back. So that's what you want to do. Two established names going at it one-on-one for the title, especially at the Royal Rumble, where the most eyes are probably going to be on the ECW brand at that point. Because by that point, the ECW brand would have been in full effect when it comes to the tri-branded pay-per-view format. And yeah, if you could tell, that means I'm getting rid of Bobby Lashley and Test because fuck that match. The way that ended.
Yeah, did a whole rant on that match. Go check it. It's fucking great. Also, I feel like to get rid of that shit in the Royal Rumble where the ECW guys would be booked like shit, getting eliminated 2 seconds.
They get some good stuff.
I would keep.
Obviously, I didn't. I think that's the reason I didn't book the Royal Rumble because I knew in my head that wasn't gonna happen. And I know you can't book everything for the Royal Rumble because by that point they didn't have pre-shows yet, so that's all you can really do. So that's why I'm saying probably going to limit it to just the ECW World and television titles.
I would still keep the spot though where Kane chokeslammed Sabu through the table because
that was fucking awesome. Yeah, 100%. Great spot. Now, from there. We go into we go into Crime Time's booking. So if you remember, they were heels. They came in as heels in ECW. They won the tag team titles. They're the inaugural ECW tag team champions under the new umbrella. So they're the tag team champions. Now, Crime Time would go on to fight FBI, Kanetai, Mexicools, and Hardcore Holly and Finley. This will lead to a tag title match between the Hardy Boys at the Royal Rumble. So, the Royal Rumble, if you're going to have ECW tag titles, it could probably be the dark opener if you want it to be. Crime Time and the Hardy Boys.
Well, how I would do it is I would have it be just the opener in the spot where Eminem and the Hardy Boys was in real life. Just take out Eminem and put Crime Time in there.
Yeah, 100%. There you go. 100%.
And then I would put you could say it makes ECW look bad that the first two matches, but with the way the Rumble was booked, maybe you could put then Batista, Mr. Kennedy, then Edge, RVD, Cena, Umaga. Well, then you run into a pop. You don't want to have Edge and RVD and Cena and Umaga, because if you're still doing the last man standing match, having two, so you have to probably put Edge and RVD second on the code, and Batista and Mr. Kennedy third on the code, and then obviously the Rumble and stuff.
Yeah, obviously.
Because you can't have.
Now I want to point out another thing is that Shane McMahon, to get punished, is going to be in an ECW Hardcore title Fatal 4-Way match, because he's like, you're going to get an ECW Hardcore title match against Sabu. And he's like, really? He's like, yeah. Look, man, I'm a fair businessman. I'm pissed off at you personally. Don't get me wrong. But, you earned it. You beat Tommy Dreamer at December, so I have to give you your just due, and I have to reward you somehow. So that's your reward.
Well, I do have to ask, if Shane's a commissioner, how is Heyman outrank Shane McMahon?
So Heyman would have basically been the way he justifies it is Dreamer. If I look back in the booking, I'm pretty sure Dreamer gets beaten by Shane, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me check.
Because I'm pretty sure he beats him. In fact, let me check that before I just talk out of my ass here. Yep, Tommy Dreamer, Shane McMahon wins with Coast to Coast. Yep. Yes. So he would have beaten him. So that would have excused it. However, he's also a fair man in cheap shots, and he doesn't like cheap shots. So he adds Dreamer to the match.
Yep.
And then he adds Sandman to the match. So there you go. You can have Sandman by that point start wrecking shop as a contender. And then on one of the ECW TVs, it does not have to be in the Royal Rumble. It can be Van Dam. Not Van Dam. You take Van Dam out and replace him with Shane McMahon, and then it's Dreamer, Sabu, and Sandman in an ECW Hardcore title match. That's how you do that. Yeah. So then, by that point, you would have had everything kind of built up roughly for WrestleMania. So now WrestleMania looks a bit different. It looks a bit different. I'm not going to go over the Raw or SmackDown stuff and what I would change there, because there are stuff that would obviously rearrange naturally with time. So I'm not just going to go over that. However, I will go over scheduling on how the pay-per-views are going to go from this point. So, let's talk about ECW's side for the WrestleMania card. So, this would have been properly built up to do this right now. You could do the ECW Originals versus the New Breed. So, ECW Originals consisting of Rob Van Dam, Terry Funk, Sabu, the Hardcore Champion still by that point, and Tommy Dreamer versus the New Breed. Elijah Burke, Marcus Corvon, new recruit by that point, Ken Anderson, and Shane McMahon. There you go. So that kind of sets that up wonderfully and nicely. And then you could have Shane do the spot with Matt Striker where he gets launched in the air as high as possible. Have it be Shane, because that would mean a lot more than it just being randomly, Matt Striker. Because everybody, by that point would hate Shane on the ECW fan base. You know what I mean? They wouldn't like it. Then,
also, give the match. I think the match in real life was like less than 10 minutes. Give the match more than 10 minutes.
Yeah, at the very least, like 11 and a half, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
At the very least, like the fact that it only went 10 minutes was a fucking shame.
And
hell, I would have it. Honestly, I would probably have it open tonight.
Same.
Me, if it's me doing it, I'd probably have it open tonight.
And also, it feels it actually has months of storyline involved instead of like a few weeks, so that's obviously good too.
Yeah, 100%, which means people will be invested in, and because everybody was invested in the Money in the Bank, but like it was a much different way, where it's just you know what you're getting with Money in the Bank. It's going to be a spot fest. So if you open it up with a storyline people are invested in, have Money in the Bank in the middle portion of the card because people will care about what's going on in the Money in the Bank for. And as I said, entirely different reasons because it's a spot fest. You'd have a much better structure card because I think the WrestleMania 23's card structure was all sorts of fucked up. Yeah. But again, we're not going to go over the whole card. So then I would book a triple threat feud for the ECW television title. This would be consisting of Mike Awesome because he wouldn't have passed away yet because they would have hired him. So. He would have had a reason to get in ring shape. Mike Awesome, Chavo Guerrero, Chris Benoit, who's the television champion going in. All three at this point, it's simple. Redemption stories. Chavo wants to win it for his, for his Uncle Eddie. Benoit wants to win it because of, he feels like he needs to prove himself in this brand again. That he's not old. He still has what it takes. From his youth days, and Mike Awesome, his redemption story is like, I need to prove that I'm the best. I need to prove I can still go, and I need to avenge what I did to ECW back in 2000 when I left them high and dry. I need to prove myself here again that I'm here to stay this time. So Mike Awesome, by this point in the match, it would have been towards the end, would win by jumping off the top rope while Chavo is trying to go for the frog splash. He jumps up the top rope, hits Chavo with the Awesome Bomb while sentoning him onto Chris Benoit, and then covering Chavo for the championship. So that way you could build a possible rematch down the line on television. Because by this point, that's when you can do a title match on television, as if it's a one-on-one scenario. If it was a triple threat scenario, then you can have the one-on-one scenario because he didn't pin the guy for the belt. That's how that can work. So there you go. That's how Mike Awesome becomes the ECW television champion, which I think is fair. You know what I mean? Like, hey, the guy stays alive. He doesn't feel like, he gets to do what he loves for a living, and you're probably preventing a suicide at that point. God rest his soul.
Yeah, thank God.
ECW World Title.
You forgot the tag titles.
I did forget the tag titles. Thank you for that. So, this is pretty simple. This would be the natural feud here. Crime Time, the ECW Tag Team Champions versus the Mexicools. The Mexicools will win with whatever the hell their finishers would be, because by that point, Crime Time would have had a fairly strong run. And you can have the Mexicools be the Tag Team Champions. There you go. Because and I think the feud could really work, because as much as people hated the Mexicools gimmick, you got to also remember that was their idea to come out in the lawnmowers. I'm pretty sure. I don't think WWE actually came out with that. Like, you can build this feud up very simply. You can have Crime Time come up and kind of be like a nation in a way, where they're against stereotypes hard. Like, they hate that they're told that, we can't do certain things, bring up real politics shit in there, because Lord knows they did it with Muhammad Hassan, and this is why we have the tag team titles, because we can do this. And the fact that you people still judge us for that, it pisses them off, right? And then here's the other side of the coin of the Mexicools coming out in the lawnmowers, and they're just embracing the stereotype. By the way, you're blurry as fucking hell.
It's the fucking holy. It's the sun. I don't know if I should move.
Yeah, you do move. Holy shit! I can't even see you.
I can't control the weather, man. Hold on.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not editing this out. I'll tell you that.
I can't do anything against the sun, so.
Yeah, if you could block out the sun, it should be fine. Just make sure you block out the sun. Yeah, no, that's not going to work either.
Hold on. Let me. It wasn't. The sun decided just to shine bright, like right when we started recording. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, be right there, and yeah, there you go, perfect. And just bring that chair over. No, yeah, just make sure your laptop's in the middle, whatever you do, because it's not in the middle. Yeah, there you go, perfect. Okay, so as I was saying, so Crime Time is the nation, and then you have the opposite side of the coin, where the Mexicools, they come out in the lawnmowers, and they're like, "Why so serious, homie? Like embrace it.
Yeah.
Don't let these people, dictate you by your thing. And if they say something about you, just gotta embrace it. You know what I mean, homie? Your words speak louder than your actions. You know what I mean? Your words speak louder. Your in-ring work, your work on the mic, all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're having a conversation. Crime Time takes offense to it. They beat him down. It's like, no, you screw stereotypes entirely. It's racism in their words, whereas the Mexicans don't see, them embracing their stereotypes as racism. It's just, good banter. You know what I mean? They're banter, you know what I mean? So that's the easiest way to do that build. That's the easiest possible thing that you can do. Because it's like, it's right there. It's simple. Like, it's simple to build to WrestleMania as well. So there you go with that. Now, continuing. So that's the ECW Tag Team title scene done. ECW World Championship. We already explained how, that would go down. Is that the build would he'd be trying to recruit him for the new breed. Punk basically pulls a Moxley in this case and says, "Oh yeah, I join on that night." And they'd be like, "Oh, by the way, I lied.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Your group sucks. It's stupid."
That would totally be
something or other, and then just kind of hits him with the GTS, runs out of the ring.
I know CM Punk wasn't like the voice of the voiceless then, but even back then, that would totally be something that CM Punk would do.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. And then that is the natural build to the match at WrestleMania. CM Punk versus Edge for the ECW World Championship.
I would just have the feud to be the exact same as Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho, where, Edge keeps trying to throw people at CM Punk, maybe have the eye injury angle happen.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you could do the whole, if you want me, you got to get through Marcus Corvon. Hey, by the way, if you want me, you got to go and, do this thing. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do all these things. Like, he's got to jump through all these, over all these hoops and shit to get to him. So, that's how you do that. That's exactly how I think that would be the best way to do that. From there, Punk wins the belt. I need to get up the booking here because I kind of turned off the phone, put it on mic. And I say CM Punk wins with the GTS. So Punk catches Edge running towards him into a fireman's carry when he tries to go for the spear and hits the GTS to win the title. And I'm sure, by the way, to a thunderous pop. By the way, by this point, I'm sure Kelly would have still been there. Maybe he would have had some other jealous boyfriend or some shit. I don't know. Who's on the roster where that would have worked? Probably Test. He did it with Stacy Keibler. That's probably how you can build that up. Maybe that could be like a little program in between the him going up against Edge, and Kelly kind of leaves Test high and dry to go with Edge, or not Edge. Fucking what's his name? He leaves Test high and she leaves Test high and dry to go to CM Punk, because that's kind of what happened in real life. And then you could have Kelly in Punk's corner while Lita's in Edge's corner, and then Kelly hits GTS on Lita while on the outside, while CM Punk hits the GTS in the ring. 1, 2, 3, crowd pops huge. Punk and her start smooching or something. He becomes chick magnet Punk. Crowd celebrates. He's got a title. He's got his girl. Big, huge victory celebration for years and years of hard work and shit like that.
And especially like CM Punk's first title win's not after failing 3 times and then winning on just a random episode of ECW.
Oh my god, that pissed me off. Oh, that pissed me off. Don't even get me started on that.
So
atrocious booking. So there you go.
So at least CM Punk gets a meaningful ECW title one.
Yeah, 100%. A meaning ECW title run and a meaning ECW title win. And by the way, I'd have him hold this all the way to when he eventually loses the belt to Chavo. Because I do think you can have Chavo as an ECW champion. I have no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind he can do that, especially if you have him turn heel. Especially if you turn heel.
I would even keep the book in the same, where he interrupts his man.
I don't know if you could do that, but I do see him taking leadership of the New Breed, because instead of doing what they did, which was the stupid ECW SmackDown. What was it? What the fuck was it that Teddy the trade off?
Partnership, that partnership thing, yeah. Yeah,
the ECW partnership. Instead of doing that, you could have a Edge and Chavo partnership where Chavo is related to Vicky, and so therefore he supports what Edge is doing, and Edge wants to take over all 3 shows. He's not just sufficed with SmackDown. He wants to take over all shows. So, he talks to his old running buddy Randy Orton, and maybe the legacy can start early, even in 2007, and that group dominates Raw. Edge's group, La Familia, with Kurt Hawkins, Zack Ryder, and Vicky Guerrero at the helm on SmackDown. They win all the gold there. Chavo Guerrero's group, the New Breed, wins all the gold on SmackDown, on ECW. And then you just have this huge La Familia conglomerate. Kind of like how we're doing with FTW Productions almost. It's kind of like that. It's just one umbrella, and then it's these different sub-factions taking over all 3 shows and, causing tyranny across all 3 brands. If that makes sense. I think that would have I think, honestly, that probably, just booking on the fly, by the way, again, that would have made way more sense than what they ended up doing with the ECW and SmackDown brands, which is just have this stupid partnership. That would be the only thing I changed, because by that point, you could have done the whole thing with the New Breed. The New Breed would have screwed, CM Punk out of the title, and Chavo would have won his first world title ever. And then it would have actually meant more.
Yeah, because at that point, when Chavo won the belt, it just felt like he was just winning a mid-card championship. So.
Yeah, it wasn't even a world championship by that point.
You could even have the thing where, CM Punk, interrupts his championship celebration by disguising himself as the mariachi band thing, like he did in real life. And
that was such a classic segment. I love that. I mean, they did it. They kind of did it. Oh no, it was a different way they did it, because it would have been a throwback. I know why they did it. It was kind of like a throwback to what Lesnar did, but instead of the heel mocking, it was the heel celebrating and then Punk disguising. So that I like how they kind of made the role reversal there. But obviously by that point,
you got one more match to rebook though, because this is where you have to sit. This is where you realize you made a mistake by accident.
No. I think I fixed that already, didn't I? In the new version.
Yeah, but you said you tell the story. The Money in the
Bank. Right. Thank you. So originally I had Benoit working double shift by accident, and he was in this Money in the Bank match, and then I realized he was the ECW Television Champion.
No, I did.
All right, you realized that, and I fucked up. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Put Finley in there instead because he was in the original match. So there you go. That's my story. I fucked up. I did stupid.
Because there's one thing. Because you have Carlito representing Raw, Randy Orton representing Raw, Ken Booker representing Raw. I guess he goes to Raw instead of SmackDown. Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys representing ECW, Finley representing ECW, MVP representing SmackDown, Kane representing SmackDown. Instead of having that shitty Great Khali match, that's a much better option. Gregory Helms, who makes us, I'm assuming he's on SmackDown because that's, even though it wasn't good.
Oh no, you know what? It's a bit odd. It's a bit odd the way I have this. I think.
Yeah.
I think the way this is supposed to go down is, so there's 2 members of SmackDown, 3 for Raw and 3 for ECW. So that's why, because originally it's 1, 2, 3. If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
a surprise return would be Jericho.
Okay.
So you could do a whole thing where you could do like a brand, like you could do brand warfare like on Survivor Series, and instead of bragging rights being on the line, the winner has winner has the number 30 spot of the Royal Rumble, and they also have and then they also have spots open for the Royal Rumble. Or not the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank. They have more spots than whoever comes in last in Money in the Bank. So let's say they do the 3-on-3-on-3 Survivor Series match that they did last year. Let's say it's Raw versus SmackDown versus ECW. Which, by the way, I was shocked they pulled that off the way they did, but they did. So you do it like that, and the winner gets the 3 automatically. The team that comes in second with more people that weren't eliminated gets 3 also. So let's say Raw comes in second. And their second place winner is they get 3 spots in the Money in the Bank match, just they don't get the number 30 in the Royal Rumble. They get they get like number 15 for coming in second, and then the last place winners get only 2 spots in the Money in the Bank match, and the number 1 spot in the Royal Rumble.
I actually like that, because that actually makes you don't just want to win, you don't want to come in dead last, because it's actually like a huge hindrance to you if you come in dead last. And if you come in second, it's still fine. It's still fine, but it's not as good as being in first. There's one thing I just remembered though, literally, and it's probably on the fly. I believe, unless you're not having that match, I believe Gregory Helms was. Oh no, he wasn't out due to an injury. He went out later due to an injury, so he could just go out due to an injury in this. So I remember he went out due to an injury.
Yeah, there you go. Instead of Edge, Hardy, Swanton's Carlito.
Well, Gregory Helms.
Carlito, fucking moron. Gregory Helms.
And that's how Gregory Helms goes out due to injury.
There you go. Done. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's taken care of.
And then you have Jeff Hardy win Money in the Bank. And then, instead of Edge doing what he did to Kennedy, Edge can just take out Jeff Hardy with the kayfabe booking, and then we're back to real life. He goes and cashes in on the Undertaker. Well, I don't like that, but I have to accept it. So,
but that's because you're a mark. But that's exactly what happened. I want to keep in timeline of how that happened. You know what I mean? So I want to stick with that. So he screws Hardy. He screws him big time. Screws him big time. That would be huge.
Jeff Hardy kind of went out around this time anyway.
Because if he wins the Royal Rumble match, you could say he went injured. He gets up from the leg drop from the ladder onto Gregory Helms, but he gets up, he's hurt, but he pulls through and wins the Money in the Bank, and it's down to him and Matt Hardy, because this is the build up towards him and Hardy in real life in 2009, so you could have a 2-year build for that. So it starts there. Kind of like how Ciampa and Gargano did their feud. It was 2 years before they actually had their, epic rivalry that everyone critically acclaims. So
up until the last match they had. But that's beside the point. I thought that was trash, but
yeah, obviously. The build to the Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy thing was trash, but I'm also thinking of you can build up Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy in this match by having them the last 2 people on the ladder, and maybe do the Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose spot with the 2 of them, and Jeff Hardy is the one that got the briefcase first over Matt Hardy in a tug of war, and whoever came down the ring last with the briefcase is the winner. And they declare, Jeff Hardy the winner by proxy on that. So that's how you could deal with that. And then Matt's still jealous. I had my hands on the briefcase first, and you got your hands later than that, and I had the briefcase when it got unhooked. I should have won the ECW title, Jeff. I should have won the Money in the Bank, Jeff. Or something like that. And that's how you could build that feud in 2009. There you go. Harboring ill will. Easy peasy. Instead of what the fuck they did.
And then you just You just gotta say like who the champions are and what the pay-per-view schedule was is all. So.
Yeah, so there you go. So by the time WrestleMania 23, excuse me, way in the future, by the time WrestleMania 23 wraps up, the world champion would be CM Punk. The television champion would actually I fucked up there again, but that's just because I was in a rush.
Yeah, I feel like
champion there would be Mike Awesome.
Yep. Chris Benoit is not lucky for you. You fucked up like 3 times on Chris Benoit, believe.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, that's because I'm just trying to book around that tragedy, honestly. And it's a good thing I had him lose the belt here because. ECW tag team titles would be Crime Time still. No, I'm sorry, I fucked up there too. And I fuck. Mexicools.
Yeah, this is an Adam Blampe book, and it's not as fancy.
Yeah, it's not as clean, so don't get used to that. So yeah, ECW World Champion is CM Punk. ECW Television Title is Mike Awesome. ECW Tag Team Champions are Mexicools, and still the Hardcore Title, Hardcore Champion, because there was no defense at WrestleMania, is Sabu. So there you go. Now,
I want to say too, can you imagine, by the way, if you had accidentally booked Chris Benoit to compete twice at WrestleMania? I think the tragedy would have happened like right after the show, probably.
Oh yeah, 100%, absolutely 100%. With that being said, now we're gonna get on to the pay-per-view schedule. Oh, and I'm gonna actually have you read this just because I'm afraid I'm fucking up like all my words today. But basically, it's going to be split evenly. If I count right before you read, Owen, I just want to count right. So, Raw, I believe, has 4 pay-per-views to their name. ECW has 2. Actually, hold on. I'm confused with the ECW side. 1, 2, 3. I think they have 3 to their name. And then I believe SmackDown. So SmackDown 1. Let me keep looking for SmackDown 2 and 3 to their name. So Raw being their flagship show, they get 4 exclusive pay-per-views. And ECW and SmackDown each get 3. SmackDown and Raw also being the flagship shows get King of the Ring pay-per-view jointed. So they're there. That's just their thing. Yeah. And then, ECW gets like no, brand exclusivity. Like they get no like partnership with any other brands because they want to be their own thing. So then the pay-per-view schedule would look like this. Owen, if you would read it, please.
And also, so instead of having 15 pay-per-views, it would be increased to 17 pay-per-views in the year 2007.
Which I know is asking a lot, but still, it's worth it, at least for the ECW side, the way I booked it.
So,
dude, honestly, like, just from this video, and I'm not even saying this to brag, but how many things did I book on the fly that made more sense than what they did? Like, what, 4, 5?
Yeah.
In the course of this video, like, I probably could book all 3 shows to make fucking sense and make the continuity actually make sense than what the WWE was doing in 2007.
I know, absolutely.
I'm not trying to brag here. I'm just saying, like, it's pretty sad.
In all fairness, though, you're saying this now, but once the Chris Benoit tragedy happens, who knows?
Oh yeah, no, it's all gonna be fucked up. Like, this would be before I knew it. Although knowing me, I probably wouldn't have even had Benoit as a world champion because he already had his glory in the sun. You know what I mean? Yeah,
but you had to rebook like around a lot, like. I believe like 11 wrestlers got suspended. You have to rebook around that.
This is in a perfect world. If Vince gave me full creative control, I would have like been the chairman or something and not Vince.
Yeah.
And I could book all 3 shows to make sense. I've been in every booking meeting. I talk with Paul Heyman. I talk with whoever the fuck was booking Raw and SmackDown at the time. I'd be like, hey, all right, let's make everything make sense here. Let's make everything make sense from A to Z, and then we make everything make sense from 0 to 10. Okay?
Yeah.
We good? All right, good. Let's move on.
All right, so this is what the pay-per-view schedule is as listed here. So, on January 7th, 2007, Raw would have New Year's Revolution, just like in real life, which was the last brand-exclusive pay-per-view, but that's obviously not in real
No,
life.
actually, the No Way Out was. No Way Out SmackDown. It was the last brand exclusive pay-per-view, even though I think they had ECW by that point on that show.
I think. I think that's why I think so, because ECW and Raw was kind of on that show a little bit, but I guess it was.
Yeah, it would have been No Way Out would have been SmackDown exclusive.
But then the Royal Rumble would take place on January 28th, 2007. That has all three, Raw, SmackDown, and ECW, and that makes sense. It's a big 4 pay-per-view. Yeah. Then we have No Way Out, which takes place on February 18th, 2007. That's a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. I would even though we're not booking, I would still have that main event.
By the way, I fucked up on the 2018 pay. You know what to say for that. But anyway, continue.
The only thing that, even though that's meant to be SmackDown, I would still have that match with Taker and Batista versus Cena and Michaels, just because that made a lot of sense. I would still have that, even though it's supposed to be SmackDown. But
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Then we would have all 3 for WrestleMania 23, which was April 1st, 2007. That obviously makes sense. It's WrestleMania. Everyone deserves a WrestleMania payday. Then for No Mercy, which takes place on April 29th, 2007. I actually almost said 2008 because but
yeah, that was my fault.
That would be SmackDown. So SmackDown gets first grabs, after WrestleMania. Then we have Backlash, which would be Raw, May 20th, 2007. That's when Backlash would happen that year. Then we would have One Night Stand, which would be the ECW exclusive pay-per-view because, that's basically...
It's One Night Stand, no shit.
Yeah. June 3rd, and that takes place on June 3rd, 2007. Then taking place on June 17th, 2007, we have Vengeance, which is a Raw exclusive paper. Are we doing the Night of Champions then, or is it just Vengeance?
Just Vengeance. I mean, if you want to do the Night of Champions thing, you can, but it would only be for the Raw side.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think they only called it Night of Champions anyway because by that point they ditched the whole brand exclusivity deal, so they tried to make their pay-per-view feel special by all the titles will be on the line, and blah 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 blah, and it shows Bobby Lashley with the ECW freaking belt, even though he fucking got traded to Raw on the poster and all that.
Especially too because I think at least most pay-per-views, every title should be on the line anyway. So why should we be excluding that to one show? But whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then sometimes it was shows where where it wasn't Night of Champions, every title was on the line anyway. So why is it so special at that point? But anyhow, that's
exactly. No.
Then going on to July 8th, 2007, we have the Great American Bash 2007. That's a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view.
Like it was in real life.
Well, before, it was.
I think it was just on a different date. I think I rescheduled it to a different date. That's the only change.
Then we have all 3. We have SummerSlam, which takes place on August 12th, 2007. We'll probably get it, once we do part 3, you'll probably see what was on that show. Maybe not, I don't know. Then we have ECW.
I mean, if you want me to do it, I'll book all the way to SummerSlam. I have no problem with that.
Then we have ECW. They get the first crack at the show after SummerSlam. It's Guilty as Charged because that's a show that exists in real life. That takes place on September 2nd, 2007. Then we have Cyber Sunday. That takes place on September 23rd, 2007. That's a Raw exclusive pay-per-view. Then we have ECW. They get the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view. That takes place on October 21st, 2007.
And this is where I needed to scramble and figured what would make sense for ECW to have, and I'd be like, that would be such an ECW and Paul Heyman thing to do, just to spite it to Bischoff, haha, fuck you, by stealing, his ECW branded title or WCW branded title and putting it on the ECW branded title. So I thought that was just hilarious when I came up with it.
Then we have Bad Blood. That's a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view that takes place on November 4th, 2007. And then
I like that. I think I changed it to Bad Blood. Because if I remember correctly, I think I changed it to that because I think SmackDown needed one more exclusive pay-per-view, and I didn't want to just go with Armageddon because literally Judgment Day and Armageddon mean they're the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
I never understood that. They were the same damn thing by definition. Judgment Day and Armageddon, if you look at the definitions for both, are literally just the same thing, just said differently. So I'm like, fuck it, just bring back Bad Blood and give it to SmackDown.
I never understood why they got rid of Bad Blood. I love that. I love that name of the show.
Yeah.
Then we have Survivor. Then we have Survivor Series. That's all three. That takes place on November 25th, 2007. Maybe he'll book all the way up to Survivor Series if he wants to. We'll see.
I mean, I'm kind of tempted to, but if I really wanted to, I honestly probably would have done it in part one anyway, considering a Survivor Series last year.
Yeah.
But then I could also make the excuse, well, ECW wasn't really an established brand by that point yet.
Then we have King of the Ring. That's a Raw and SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view that takes place on December 9th, 2007. And then last, ECW gets the last show. It's December that takes place on December 23rd, 2007. I do question that, though, because how big the bye week going to be if it's like right before Christmas?
Well, it's right before, if you actually look at the calendar, it's right before Christmas Eve, so that could be a way that people spend their Christmas right before Christmas Eve.
There you go.
It's like a Christmas Eve early. Yeah, that was like my logical choice. I was like, I don't want to, like, if you're gonna have a pay-per-view called December to Dismember, you could have it early in the month, but I would make it more towards the end of the month. Because it's December, and what do you associate December with? Christmas. If you have an excuse to put it near Christmas, like right before Christmas or right after Christmas, you want to put it in that slot every time.
Yes.
Especially if you look at the ECW December to Dismember graphics screens, it was all Christmas inspired with like barbed wire and like holding up the lights and shit. So obviously it was supposed to be a Christmas themed. So why aren't you putting it towards the end of the month?
I know, yeah.
That's just how it is.
Better than what what WWE did in real life. We're only in part 2. Like it's like we're not even in part 3 yet. It's already better than what WWE did in real life. So it's like,
dude, honest to God, bro, like it's insane how much better this came out than what WWE actually did in real life. It's honest to God infuriating, like how lazy the company started to be by that point. Because I gave him credit, and I was like, right around 2008, people stopped. It was all right. Like the storylines were all right. I think they did get better in 2008, but 2006 to 2007, oh my God, those were the doldrum years creatively. Like speaking, like not even just because of the Benoit thing. Creatively speaking, it was the fucking worst. Like every show that you would watch sucked the fucking life out of you by that point. Like, fuck me. Like I remember Raw improved in 2008 and SmackDown, but ECW was still the fucking same thing. And it's just like, I hate the whole. If you're gonna have a show, make the show to get profit. Like. Your goal should be creating good stuff, because if you create good stuff, profit comes with it. That should always have been the mindset. That's always how I see that, And who knows? Maybe it doesn't make as much as Raw and SmackDown, but I guarantee you it would have made a hell of a lot more than just giving up because Vince couldn't get his fucking way.
I know,
like a man-child, you know what I mean? It's just...
Oh, the beauty... I mean, we're not at that point yet, but the beauty part is... we don't have, Vince winning the EC. I mean, we're not at that part of the booking yet.
Oh, yeah, no. Vince does not win the ECW title under any circumstances, because Bobby Lashley, by that point, would have been on Raw already, and not on ECW, which made no fucking sense.
So...
Which, by the way, everybody's like, oh, but $1 Million Mania. Yeah, to your casuals, that's a fucking great event. I'm sure you loved having, Vince go bald. And I'm sure you thought that was a car crash on TV, and that's why you bought the thing. For us, we had to then watch Vince win the ECW title to build on a feud that should have ended that night.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty part about it is you can still have your $1 Million Mania, just ECW is not associated with it this time. So,
in the slightest. in the slightest it wouldn't be associated with it. And thank God, because holy shit, that made ECW look bad just by having its name attached to it.
I mean, too, like, ECW didn't even get a title defense because, think about it, too, like, the only ECW title defense that ever happened lasted, like, 8 seconds. Like, that's
not only that, by the way. Not only that. We got the... I like Santino. He's funny and everything, but we got Umaga also dropping the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
To Santino Marella. And look, that probably still would have happened because I doubt I'd have control over everything, even if I was...
Isn't Umaga on the ECW brand, so that probably wouldn't have happened, so...
Who?
Umaga's on the ECW brand in your family.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, yeah. So, yeah, I put him on the ECW brand, didn't I?
Yeah.
Although, I mean, somebody would have jobbed Bobby Lashley, I think, and somebody would have been, taking on Bobby Lashley.
How about Gene Snitsky put jobs at Bobby Lashley, because fuck him.
Perfect, I'm fine with it. Great. I approve this decision.
Yeah.
I approve.
Yeah, so that's basically it for the fantasy booking series. Well, for part 2 anyways. I mean, James, if people aren't sold, you got one last chance to sell people on the ECW plan with part 3. So, yeah, if people aren't sold with these first 2 parts, you got one last chance. So
yes, if they're not impressed, I don't know what to tell you, man. I think I did a great job. I think I think so.
I think so too. But if they're not impressed,
it's all up to the fans at the end of the day. And then I'm probably gonna be plugging this like I do everything because I'm sure a lot of people will be viewing this. But yeah, pretty much it. And yeah, I guess we do our plugs now, right? It's been so long since we did our plugs for this channel.
Well, for me anyways, but I guess I'll go first. Check out this channel for future fantasy booking series, and if you want to watch stuff from the past, just go watch some great wrestling rundown content, because we're gonna do 200th video at some point, and if you want to just have a laugh, just go watch our old show because it's funny stuff. So
there you go. It's good stuff. We have many laughs.
I mean, if you want to know why 2K21's not getting made, just go watch Mike rant on 2K20 and you understand why. So
yeah, the wrestling rant, the epic rant that you and Mike both had on that fucking game is priceless.
More Mike than me, but
yeah. But yeah, no, that game is fucking tragic.
I never even played it, so it's like,
dude, I just had to see it. I knew I didn't even have to play it. I'm like, what am I watching? I swear I'm watching I'm literally watching an unfinished product right before my eyes. It's insane.
One video we plan on doing in the future is a throwback video where we're gonna look at WWE 12 and like the game, and how the story modes went, because we thought the story modes were kind of weird. They were kind of some of them were just trash, and some of them were just. The only good one was like not the League of Nations, but the United Kingdom faction, but that lasted way too short. But
I think you could have done it better. As I said, like I could do a whole fantasy booking series just off that game, honestly.
Oh, let's do that actually instead. Like, let's just do a fantasy booking series.
Just for that, we'll do like an impromptu fantasy booking series video. Yeah, fuck it. So yeah, there's that, obviously. So that being said,
obviously, I want to. And I can tell you what my next pick is. Everyone's gonna hate me for saying this, but I just got bored. I just booked me and James as a tag team one day, so that's gonna be the next fantasy book. I mean, it's fantasy.
That's the next one. That's the next one coming up. Am I finishing mine up first, or are you going after me, and then I do the final part after you the next week? How are we doing that?
Oh yeah. Well,
I think I should just finish the second part of that on next week, and then do this.
What do you mean?
Like, I should probably just finish up ECW next week, and then we start your thing the week after that. So yes. That's what you'll be seeing. Keep an eye out. There you go. So
and then on Talkinator, you're gonna see some type of video there. I don't know what yet. And then CM Brothers tomorrow. We're gonna be reviewing the Death Note movie, not the 2017 one. That's coming soon. We're gonna do the 2006, the last name video. So that should be fun.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Cool.
And that's all I got to plug. And
CM Brothers too.
I just did that. I just unless Yeah, that's CM Brothers. So
there you go. CM Brothers is down there. Okay. So for me, and by the way, and I have a news announcement. I don't know if you've noticed, there was a thing at the beginning of this video. Everything is a part of one umbrella now.
yeah.
The For the Win Productions. So we're all collectively a part of it. Owen is, the Indie Force boys are, the Wrestling Rundown crew is, and also Jenna Lee and Noah Foster is a part of that as well. So and some WYW crew are involved in that as well creatively. So we are all there. We're all going to be working on doing content together. In some way, whether we're a co-host or a guest or something, or even just a curator of the content, and they want to give us ideas. We have a couple people in there that don't show up on the show, but do give us good ideas. So yeah, look forward to that. It's going to be a great adventure, and I'm looking forward to the fucking insane shit we're all going to be doing on this whole umbrella thing. You guys can also check out, along with the channels Owen promoted, J. Hebert Side 95, which is now going to be known as J. Hebert Side 95 / FTW Studios. So there's going to be a different layout probably by that time when the channel comes around. Like, I'm going to be remodeling the whole channel, because that's where the main base is going to be, is my channel, because that has like a big audience anyway. So definitely keep in mind of that if my channel looks different, that's why. YouTube.com/user/JHEBERTSIDE95. You guys can also check me out on my CAW Wrestling wrestling channel, which is also part of FTW Productions now. Weymouth Youth Wrestling. That's YouTube.com/user/WYW Pride. Check out the 2022 season intro. It's really good. It's got a lot of views. A lot of people like how that intro came out. I'm very proud of that intro myself. So definitely go check that out. That was actually worked on by myself and Mike. Mike actually helped me out with that, so definitely give him some love. Check that out. Leave a comment on all videos that you check out, including this one, by the way, because, that helps the algorithm show that we mean something. And also check me out on the Wrestling Rundown right here on this channel. Also check out the Alternative, which is the Hibiki TMD. I am a co-host now when it comes to pay-per-views. I actually co-host with them on the pay-per-view. That's the the Alternative Ultra, if you will. That's youtube.com/user/RecklessYouth84, and that's Reckless starting with an R, not a W. So there you go. That's everything.
And mine as well. We'll also, just because I watched like 2 episodes, watch Quizomania. It's quite funny stuff.
Yes.
Because and also check out how Adam booked Roman Reigns, because I can't believe how just simple it was.
It was. You have no idea. It was like, I did it. The guy's a genius. I swear to God. The only reason I know how to book, honestly, the way I do is because a lot of the stuff I've learned from him. Yeah, honestly.
We'll talk about how Adam booked Roman Reigns after we recorded, because I want to know what your thoughts were on that. So
I'll give you my thoughts. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah,
I should have booked him from day one. It's easy, done. So yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Can you believe too? Dean Ambrose probably would have stayed too if that universe.
Yeah. Let's not bore them to death with it, obviously. But continue though. You do.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe if you want, check out Sean Ross' app. I've enjoyed his content as of late.
Just shout outs everywhere.
Yeah. What Culture, Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic.
All of them. Subscribe to all of them.
Maybe Jim Cornette's podcast. I just listened to one of the episodes. Not bad, but if you want, just fast forward what he says about AEW, because it's really, I'm not a fan of what he says. So
he's got some of the dumbest takes. Did you hear his interview with FTR?
I haven't yet, no.
Oh boy, that's just a disaster. And now I'm starting to wonder if his hatred for the Elite now is just a work. Just the whole time. I think he genuinely has heat with Kenny, but now I'm wondering about
one thing that was weird is he ranted about the Bubbly Bunch stuff, when they did the whole thing where they got hit and stuff, and he didn't know what that was. That was, I guess he's not hip on pop culture, I guess, because that's literally what that was supposed to be. So
yeah, no, it's just frustrating, isn't it? So yeah. Anyway, we're rambling on now, guys. Do your catchphrase and let's get out of here.
yeah, we'll talk to you later. I don't know what James. I don't know when, but
yeah, just stay safe, guys. Stay safe. There you go. There you go.
Don't stay safe.
Don't stay safe? Okay,
no.
Don't stay safe. Owen doesn't want you to stay safe again.
People are just starting to say that now. Just don't be safe. Just be reckless. Do cartwheels in the pools. Do, I don't know, run in through a wall. Just don't be safe.
Don't wear a mask when you go out. Just fuck it. Fuck it all.
Yeah. Everyone's starting to do that now anyway, so just don't be
yeah, I saw that earlier today. Anyway, bye, guys. $20.